I'd like to thank Augment Code for sponsoring this first season of Still Burning. I can remember my excitement when I saw my first IDE. You could find anything, you could change any code, and I was just so excited. But the era of making changes to code like a watchmaker is gone. Most of the changes now are going to be made by the Genie, and Augment Code is helping go beyond the IDE with their new intent product. Programmers stay oriented, they keep learning, they see what's happened, they make strategic decisions, and meanwhile, agents go and do the detailed work. The gap between an idea and a running system has never been narrower, and that's exciting. The gap between a running system and a mature, fully running system is the same as it ever was. And the difference is not feature set. The difference is trust. Security, auditability, identity, the list of items a CISO hands you before your system will run in their system. Teams try to tackle this themselves. How hard could it be? It turns out that this is both a very important problem and a very complex problem. That's where WorkOS comes in. Single sign-on, identity providers, role-based access management. WorkOS gives you the infrastructure to trust the systems that you're excited to have built. My friend Jessica Kerr, welcome to Still Burning.
Thank you, Ken.
It's
There are fires making me feel really welcome right now.
Oh, good, good. So we
It says hello. I feel like it's a dog and it's like jumping up on my lap and licking me.
Yeah, yeah. It's the fire equivalent of that.
Yeah.
Great to have you on the podcast. We've been friends a long time, and I wanted to have you on since we had the idea for the podcast.
I finally got out to the cool house.
You got to the cool house, to the cool side of the country. I talked to geeks who still care and are still doing something about it. And you fit that definition for sure for me. I kind of watched you from afar for a while, and you kept coming up with these powerful metaphors that made me think differently about my situation, like the Samathacy. And then we became friends and worked together on
Various systems thinking
systems thinking
developers.
during COVID.
Yeah.
That was an interesting time.
Yeah, COVID was an interesting, challenging time, and now we're in a completely different, challenging time.
Yeah. In these challenging times, we need creativity, and we need people who are willing to dig in technically. As the rule book is changed
Yes.
for everybody.
Yes, but the meaning of technical, that like the kind of technical digging in we need to do is at another level.
Yeah, yeah. Things that I wrote whole books about just don't matter anymore. Like carefully crafting a function. There's no leverage. I mean,
Right.
it feels good. It still feels good.
Right.
But you made the analogy earlier of a woodworking.
Right. Right. Now, if you want to build a bookshelf or a table, that's great. That's a craft. But there's also IKEA.
That's right. There's cheaper ways to do it. And you could choose to do it. When did you first know that you were a geek?
Oh, well, in high school, I used to program my graphing calculator because I was bored in class.
Sure. Who didn't?
Yeah. Well, many people around me did not.
Okay.
Did not.
And you noticed that difference. You were bored in class and you wanted to dig into this
Yeah, that was
thing.
entertaining. I made it play little games. Also, I I wish I knew how to sing, but I quit choir in 7th grade because the teacher wouldn't let me read my Star Trek book while other people were singing.
Okay.
But she would let her favorites, the cheerleaders, talk amongst themselves. So there's like a different value system, right?
Correct.
Of like what is important and and it, what forms of mental stimulation are worthwhile.
Yeah, and socially acceptable.
Yeah.
When's the first time you felt comfortable being a geek?
Oh, Missouri Scholars Academy.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Between sophomore and junior year of high school, Missouri has a thing which is like 3 weeks. You go to Mizzou and they gather like close to 1,000 people from across the state who are like top of their class academically, and to be around people who valued each other for being smart and where we can have like geeky conversations and talk about philosophy or technology. We didn't call it philosophy then, but just like ask interesting questions and then speculate. That was the first time that I felt valued for the things I desire.
Okay.
Yeah, and my sister went to MSA, and then just a few years ago, my kid went to MSA.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
I was so happy. My sister met her husband there.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, so there's a lot of value in when you first find that group. I contrast this with the first time I came to San Francisco, which was, I don't know, 12 years ago or something. And the billboards are targeted at me as a developer, and I was like,
Uh,
"What? That's too much, man. I I want my value system to be shared by my friends, but not the whole world."
Correct. And, well, we had Fry did you ever get to a Fry's Electronics?
No, we only had Radio Shack.
Okay. So Fry's was a whole big supermarket full of capacitors and resistors and
Circuit boards,
like, yeah, everything.
radio control cars.
Every geeky thing you could imagine, and for a while, they had locations all around the Bay Area, and
Mhm.
that was kinda magic.
There's something I wanna get back to in the IKEA analogy related to the billboards.
Yeah.
Developers have gone through a period recently of being incredibly valued.
Yeah, like, two what's the like, 2018 to 2022 or something.
Oh, come on. When I got out of college in 1999, it's a beautiful year to get out of college. It was so easy to get hired as a programmer. That was an easy career to go into because I could get a job in any city I wanted, whenever I wanted. I was very happy with that. And so I feel like software development has been a really well-paying. My kids observed that your job looks pretty great, mom. You get to travel around, you get to work for lots of places, you get paid really well. It's been a fantastic job. And and now this year, maybe starting last year, now we feel threatened because the IKEA of software development has arrived.
Yes. It feels like it's arrived because part of our job part of our job has been taken out of our hands.
Yeah, part of our job can be easily replaced with something um with a computer
W
now, with a
with a
robot.
machine. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. With something that anyone can access in their browser.
Can they though? Uh, uh, so,
Well, not everyone has internet access, but most of us do.
yeah, but just because you have access to Cloud Code in your browser doesn't mean you know what to do with it, or you start doing something with it and you don't know that it's well, I call it the genie, right? It's granting
Right.
wishes and it's not what you want. So knowing that the skill has gone from this synthetic skill, let me create a program with meat fingers, to an analytic skill, which is like, you're telling me this is a program. Let me analyze what you've done.
I what? no. I don't think you have to analyze a program for it to be useful. Okay, let's get concrete.
Okay.
Okay, so I mean, I could take a, a civilian. Like my mom could now make a website
Yep.
with Claude if she wanted to. But let's get to a work scenario. Um, if the accounting department now wants to expand their spreadsheet into some or a portion of their spreadsheet into something that they can use among their team and have a real program and have some more automation or something, they can do that. You have to know what you want. You have to know that it can be done by software.
Yes, that's part of the
And
skill,
you have
but
to have
lots
a
of
place
people.
to run it, but that can just be your laptop. If you're going to use it, or maybe you share it with your team and multiple people use it or whatever, or there's a platform, there's a whole nother job there of internal platforms for people in accounting to run their new software on.
Mhm.
Um, but basically they can go to IKEA, and IKEA here is ChatGPT or Claude, and they can get the software that they need and it'll be good enough. And no, they don't have to analyze it. They just have to look at the output and say, is it good enough? Is it what I wanted? So you do have to know what you want. That's a trick.
Yep.
Um, but I don't think you have to understand the code to get useful software now.
Yes.
We need to understand the code, but that's our problem.
So, what I was reacting to was, okay, we're programmers and our job has just gone away. And because anybody can do it. And I think that's a message a lot of people hear, but I disagree. And I suppose baldly stated like that, you would disagree
Well,
also.
sure. Our job is completely different.
Yes. Well, and that
Somebody's got to assemble the IKEA furniture. And my mom actually didn't know how to make her own website. Still did it for her. I just did it in a few hours instead of a week.
yeah.
Um, uh, yeah, our job is completely different because the parts, the code crafting, and the understanding software through code, that part has been commoditized. But that's not all of our job. It's some people's favorite part. It's not my favorite part, so I'm okay.
Okay. I think it emphasizes once again uh, that relating to other people is a more highly leveraged skill now, even than it was before.
Yes, because understanding what to build is the hardest part. I opened Twitter the other day, which is
I'm
a rare
so
bit now.
sorry.
It's great for outputting snark. Uh, but my pinned tweet for many years is I don't want to build software so much as build understanding and express it in software.
Mhm.
And I feel like I can do that more than ever now. But I have to do it at a different layer. It's not just writing the code. I need to express that understanding in some sort of verification layer.
Yes. And that's where the analytical skills come in to say, there aren't enough tests here.
Yeah, because there's building software, like an accountant building software for themselves.
Yeah.
If it works for them, it works for them, and they understand it well enough. But as soon as you're building software for other people,
Right.
and
That's
software
a
that's
big
going to scale,
that's a big step function.
and software that's going to be depended upon by other software, that's going to be used by people who don't understand it in and out,
Yeah.
like they're writing it for themselves, they're fine. Um, as soon as we want software that's a capability out into the world,
Yeah.
then yeah, how do we know it works? Requires all that analytical skill
Right.
that we ever had.
Yeah, and some more because the tools are set up to give us the finger guns. You asked for this feature. Gotcha.
And that's where the creativity comes in now,
Yes.
right? The creativity isn't what shall I name this variable and how shall I refactor this function and make it look pretty. The creativity is in how do I design a system that produces code that works, and I can say why I know it works.
Yeah.
Yeah. I find that really satisfying.
Hmm. I want to get back to this step function in software
Mm.
where either other people or other software relies on what you've
Mm.
done,
Oh, right, right. But from this is useful to me and I understand it and that's good enough
right?
to this is useful to many people. This is a capability I've added to the world.
And that software has to be at a completely different level.
Yes.
Back in the day, uh, over and over again, I'd see early days of objects. A shipping company or a chemical company would
Hmm.
write some software that was really good for what they needed it for, and they'd look around and they'd say, "We should sell this to other people." And time out, that's at least 10 times harder than what you've just done.
Right.
But all they could see was, "Well,
This
this is
is
worth
useful to us.
$1,000,000 to us. We'll charge 100 people $1,000,000 and we'll have a whole new line of business."
Yeah, because they're not this is worth $1,000,000 to us in this context, in this system with these people
Mhm.
and their expectations.
Right.
Um, and putting it out into the world with people who have different expectations,
Yep.
um, and different needs, totally different.
Right.
Because then you have to go understand those people.
Right.
And that gets back to the relationships being more important than ever.
Yeah. Yeah. Of the, so you introduced a bunch of vocabulary,
Right.
some
Yes.
of which took off.
Something took off.
No, yeah.
I mean, a lot of people like the word semathesy
Okay,
the
explain
way
what
I
that
do.
means.
Yes. Let's talk about semathesy. Semathesy is a word coined by Nora Bateson, who's an anthropologist. And it means a learning system made of learning parts. This contrasts with the word system by itself, which is which often when we think about a system, uh, we think about something mechanical. Systems can be mechanical,
Yeah.
and I think it's Akoff who says that a system is um, more than the sum of its parts. It's the relationships between all those parts
Yeah.
that matter. And Nora Bateson takes that another step further because while in a machine or a deterministic software program, you can understand all the parts and all the relationships, at least theoretically. It's complicated. Um, in a living system, those parts are constantly changing and the relationships between them are constantly changing. And Nora sees those as flows of learning,
Okay.
right? Like within our team, we're always learning from each other and changing each other. And then the software participates in that too. That chemical company that built its own software, the people are learning from that software and then they're influencing that software. And so the whole system is learning and growing together. And you cannot model that. You can never understand and know and predict all of the different parts in the relationships because they're constantly shifting and changing. So everything biological and everything human and sociological is a semathesy, a learning system made of learning parts. And so we can't just use our analysis skills.
Right.
We
Because
have
you
to,
can't predict.
right, you can't predict. We have to like flow with it. And also whenever you to study a semathesy, you have to like get in there and get to know the people and see how they work together. And when you do that, you influence it.
Hunter S. Thompson's Gonzo Journalism,
Mm.
where he rode motorcycles with the Hells Angels
Ah, nice.
until they almost beat him to death. But that's a different part of the story. So have you thought about the semathesy in the augmented world?
Oh yeah. Well, now, so I already had the people and the software in the system, especially in a software team, because the code is part of the system. It learns from you because you change it. You learn from it when it throws an exception or a test fails or whatever. We build those flows of learnings in. And now agents are a completely third kind of node in this system. because they learn completely differently.
Hmm.
Um, unlike code, you don't program into now do this thing differently. Unlike people, we don't remember things and have our attitude shifted and our taste adjusted by everything we've ever seen. Um, I mean, maybe they do in the training data, but we don't influence that. That's a black box. But in the course of working with agents, we totally influence them with their context. So the memories that they write down or that we write down for them, the code and the way it looks totally changes how they learn.
Hmm.
And their learning is on in the ways we use them. Their learning is on a weirdly short time scale.
Hmm.
Like suddenly documentation matters tremendously more because people, we really only read the docs for a project when we start.
Yeah.
And so when a new person starts, maybe that happens once or twice a year
Or as a last resort.
or as a last resort. And even, but then it's out of date because
Yeah.
it's only read once or twice a year. But now the agent needs to start from scratch in that project and read that documentation every 15 minutes or an hour.
Hmm.
So suddenly that documentation is getting used regularly. And that's why we can keep it up to date.
Because it's actually worthwhile to do
It's
so.
it's worthwhile and we notice when it's wrong because the agent gets dumb. And when it gets dumb, you look at the wider system. And so we are stewards of its environment. Um, and yeah, and we notice when it gets dumb. And then I'm always asking it, okay, what made you think that? And usually it can tell me.
Okay.
Sometimes I suppose sometimes it's wrong, but generally it can be like, well, I read this document over here and it says this. And I'm like, okay, let's spin up a sub agent to update that document and actually often I'll just slash clear, update the document, start over.
Yeah.
I love that. That's the other thing. Agents can forget and people can't. I love that power.
Yeah, and I think we're not. As soon as you said that, I realized, oh, I'm not using that nearly enough.
Mm-hmm.
This idea that coding is free.
Oh, now, if parenting worked like this, if you could have an interaction with a kid and be like, ah, fuck, that didn't work. Slash clear. Rewind. Say reload my game from before you came in the door.
Let me take a breath.
Let me
And
step 1 be happy to see you. Step 2 ask you to pick that stuff up.
yeah, but it's not. I mean, human relationships are not reversible in that same kind of way.
Right. So agents have completely different flows of learning. How do we help them communicate to us? And then how do we learn about how they work? There's so many different loops in here. It's
Yeah. Yeah, I think that how do we get agents to communicate to us in ways that are leveraged? That's a wide open question right now.
mm.
I mean, it's whatever, May 2026. So maybe in 2 weeks we'll have that one solved. But
Well, somebody will,
current,
but the future is not evenly distributed.
true. Currently, if I look at especially a multi-agent system,
Mhm.
if I try and keep track of all of the now I kick off a sub agent to do this, and I'm reading, and pretty soon, no, I can't do it.
Yesterday at Alicon, um, Charity had a bunch of stickers about the human in the loop, about it's my loop,
Uh-huh.
right? I'm in charge here.
Yep.
Um, and Corey Quinn said, sometimes the loop can become a noose. Which is true.
Yes.
If you start caring at the wrong level, if you start trying to understand everything it did, that's almost never useful. Certainly not in our general certainly not in our general quote coding practice. You don't want to drill in at that level. And the other time is when it's like, "Oh, I coded this, you go test it for me." No, that's the news. Don't stick your head in that. Tell that thing to test it itself, and if it doesn't know how to test it itself, then it's time to have it write that playwright script or whatever.
Yeah. So by the time you got to programming, Seems like the playbook for how to do good programming was fairly established. Is that fair to say?
It was probably established somewhere, but that doesn't mean it was in the particular culture that I was programming in,
Okay.
because they're all very uneven. So we had established procedures. We would write test code to exercise our functions, and then we would delete it because CI was not a thing.
Okay.
We had version control, but it was if you locked a file, no one else could change it.
Right.
That was different. We had internal libraries, and that was it. We didn't have open source going on.
Right.
We had strong coding standards, like you could make your code look like everyone else's code. And we were writing in C. And then later I realized, oh, our C looks just like COBOL because this
Whoever.
software was written by COBOL programmers who had just learned C. Later we switched to Java, and guess what our Java looked like?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
So and that's okay. I mean, I used to tell people, what programming language should you use? Well, whichever one you already know. That's the one you're going to be best at. But now it's a little different. Which one is the agent good at
Right.
has a lot to do with it. But I mean, what I know and can read when I need to is also valuable. Well, and understanding a language and understanding of runtime are two different things,
Yes.
right? Because if I'm actually going to operate this, if I'm going to put this capability out into the world, need it to do more than just meet my requirements. I need it to run smoothly.
Yeah. Suddenly, P99 latency matters in a way that maybe it
Yeah,
doesn't
and
to
JVM
you.
expertise is a thing,
Yeah.
and the running node processes, there's a lot of variation in that.
Yeah.
Um, right. So that it still matters what we know, but it also matters what the agent knows. Um,
And
like that software you're talking about some software earlier, and you were like, it was telling me all the wrong things. And I'm like, wow, this was some video editing software. I'm like, well,
yeah.
you should use OBS. I bet it knows how to use OBS better. Is OBS harder to use? Yeah. But if the agent knows how to tell me what to do, that makes it easier to use.
Yeah. So there's a flip side to that, which is my learning has been accelerated so much
Right.
because I can be coding in Rust, never seen Rust before. I see single quote, curly brace,
Mhm.
slash, slash, and I can say, "Hey, what does this mean?" And I'm asking that question. It's beautiful because I'm asking that question in a concrete situation
Yeah.
at a time when I care about it.
Yeah.
So when it comes back to me and it says, "Well, that's the type erasure, blah, 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 blah."
And unlike Googling, you're not having to translate some generic example to your
Right.
situation.
Right, it's interpreting my actual
Yeah.
example.
One of the uh, younger programmers at Honeycomb, Ruthie, was telling me that they love this because they are able to learn so much faster, because their learning used to be limited by the people available to answer their questions. And now they can go to Claude or whichever for all the easy questions, all the generic questions, and then go to the human with the specific, why do we do it this way?
Right.
Question after they've got all this background. And um, Ruthie said the answers come a lot faster
Mhm,
because when they would ask a person, they'd be like, I don't quite get it. Can you explain it another way? A person has to think about it.
mhm.
Claude is all over that.
Yes, loves doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can
So
remember.
our flow of learning is highly accelerated in that way.
Yeah,
If we do.
if. Yeah, I think that's a skill, that's a missing skill that, learning when and how much to learn, because it's so much
Right.
cheaper, we could be doing it much more often.
But it's tempting to skip that and just assemble the furniture and start using it.
"Yep, I got that feature done. You want the next feature?" "Mm, sure."
And that's the thing. If we focus on doing the same stuff faster,
Right.
then we are missing the step function. Yes, we get a step function in productivity by an old definition,
Yeah.
right? Of just outputting features. Outputting features is easy. Understanding features is harder. Understanding the language and the runtime and what do we need to care about. We have so much opportunity to learn faster. But you gotta take the step back and use it
Right.
and use the tool in a different way to maximize learning instead of skipping it.
Yeah, and that's a individual contributor skill, that's a management skill, that's I've I wanted to enhance Git with a multiple choice quiz. If you wanna merge a PR, you have to it goes and looks and says, "Well, what should you have learned from this?" And then it tests you on that, and if you haven't learned it yet, it says, "No, no, we can't merge this, you have to go and learn some more."
Oh, okay, okay. So like a pre-commit hook?
Yeah, pre-commit hook, which is based on a do you understand what you just did?
Dr. Nicole Forsgren has a plugin for Claude that will, like, as you're working, ask you, "Hey, do you have some time to learn something? Because there's an opportunity here." Ruthie uses that too.
Hmm, I think I would find that incredibly annoying, but maybe not.
You can tell it's a buzz off.
Okay, good. We can still do that at least.
Yeah, there are all these hooks. People use hooks to like remind the agent to do what you said it, what you want it to do. Like, hey, did you remember to push back about something that's wrong? Did you remember to make a commit? Did you remember to write your implementation notes or whatever it is? But we can do that for ourselves too in that same place.
Yes, and the opportunities to do that come much quicker than they used to. Like, you could do that every 15 minutes now, where coding with meat fingers, maybe that happens once a day
Mm,
because 'cause you're spending so much time getting all the details
yeah.
just right.
And when we do that, especially when we like go fiddle with our hooks or whatever to inject this different workflow and these reminders to I shouldn't have used the word maximize. I hate the word maximize. To not neglect learning.
Yes.
Um uh it feels like play.
Yes.
And in the training at some cultures, play doesn't feel like productivity. But I
Right.
promise play, that feeling of play is a sign that you're learning something. And we need a lot of that right now because we do not know what we're doing.
Right. When in the 3X kind of world, and when you're in Explore,
Explore.
farting around is a positive good. If you have a highly tuned, uh, very precise, highly scaled system,
If you're
and so
putting together IKEA furniture,
and somebody wants to come along and say, I let me fiddle around with the
I
deployment
think
for
we should
this.
drill a hole over here.
Yeah, yeah, no, 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 you don't. Up there, you can play, but you have to find ways to make it safe. When you're in the Explore world, you got nothing to lose.
Right.
Learning to trust that little voice that goes, "Hey, I wonder."
I wonder. Yeah, that's a good signal.
Yeah, I want that instead of
We need more
Siri.
of that.
I want anytime I say "I wonder," I want it to just
Well, now we have something to answer,
yeah,
but often it's better to try it. Especially when what we're wondering about is how to work with the agents themselves, because that's where we get to play, and that's where we get to be in charge and do stuff we never could before.
what do you s so, I've taken a certain amount of heat for, I don't wanna hear about all this AI stuff."
Yeah,
Uh,
sorry.
do you get that same kind of pushback?
Um, my kids will have none of it. My kids will not use AI. I mean, I get it from software developers too, and I'm like, okay, well, you don't have to listen to my podcast. I'll let you know if we ever put out an episode that's not about AI, but that is what's happening right now.
Right.
That is, and it is where we need to learn, and it is terrifying and exciting, and I choose to be excited.
Yep.
But don't make my kids use it. It's gonna hurt them. They're going to need to learn, but right now they're like, it's terrible for artists. Okay, but this is, I don't know. It's just, this is reality.
How did that happen? We're supposed to be the fuddy-duddies. We're supposed to be
We're
digging
not the
our
fuddy duddies.
digging our heels in, and the kids are supposed to be doing cool new stuff that we can't understand. And
Well, there's so much corporate push and AI is shoved in their faces all the time
yeah,
that no, they are rebelling by rejecting it.
I wonder how that plays out.
Whereas we are conforming to the capitalist oligarchy by leaning into it. It's so cool. It's so exciting. I can still do stuff I couldn't before. So I'm going to use it. I'm not going to reject something so amazing just because um it it's also the center of a gigantic bubble.
Yeah.
No, I'm in there, I'm participating. And that gets us back to semathosy
Yes.
because to understand and improve a semathosy, you have to get in it. And I define semathosist as someone who participates in a semathosy and works to improve it consciously.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm doing as a developer, as I improve my code, as I level up my team and myself, as I build relationships within the team and outside, as I improve the observability so I can learn more from my running software, and even more now that I'm working with agents and I'm learning how to work with them better and I'm learning how to get them the context they need and I'm learning how to get them to build the verification systems that we all need to build something useful. I am a semathicist.
And that's like there's definitely a set of skills there. Uh, there's a two-level kind of thinking where you're in the system and also thinking about the system.
Did we curse on this podcast?
Yes.
Okay. And there's a certain kind of fuck to give too.
Yes. Well, that's and back to the premise of Still Burning is geeks who still
Don't like-
care
Yeah.
and are still doing something about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Who have not sat back and said, I'm not using AI because it's probably evil. Whatever. Everything is both evil and good depending on how you use it. And I'm going to use it in good ways. So there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we still care.
Yeah, this is a tough one. I get the ethical objections to it in terms of energy usage. I think if you're worried about water usage, you should go check the math. Um, I'm also concerned about as an author, little piece of me is out there in all
As
of
an
those.
author, I wanted to read all my stuff, please. I would like the entire world to think more like me, please. Please train on my output. Yes.
And you don't need to get paid for that?
I don't get paid for it now. You do get some royalties, but everybody knows that writing a book is a labor of love and a service, and that's why we applaud people for it because you don't get paid enough.
Okay.
I
All right. Fair enough.
yeah, so no, I don't write for the money. I might get some. I don't know. I think I have $8 in Patreon subscribers.
Congratulations.
But and at some point at graceful.dev, well, that's video. A video is a different value prop. Now I'm not worried about the plagiarism. I totally want my output to be part of what the world is
Yeah,
is
I've recently
getting back.
switched. So I have this metacognition project called Thinkies,
Mm-hmm.
and recently switched this to make them more open because I'd like them to be represented in. If I go and ask all the models what are thinkies, the answers come back wildly wrong
Mm,
by my standards.
right. I would like them to be more right.
I'd like them to be more right and to have
Some of
those
them will even
ideas.
credit you,
Yeah, yeah.
like the search engine ones.
Um, so I am my thinking is coming around. I mean, and it's clearly impossible to attribute, okay, OpenAI AI made $100 billion and I get 14.
I don't
That's
care.
the appropriate
I
slice of it.
Ours is the work, not the fruits.
So here's what I worry about. What is my incentive? I was in the middle of writing a book about software design and augmented development and got some bad news and sat back and thought, do I really want to be doing this? What is my incentive to write this book at all? Is going to go into it's going to be grist for the mill for this thing that's going to make somebody else a whole bunch of money.
It's also gonna be out of date in 2 months.
But what yeah, the principles won't. But
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
the like what is my incentive here? Why am I busting my hump? And writing a book is really hard work.
Yeah.
And so yes, I mean I have internal incentive to do it, but I don't like the feeling that other people will profit economically and I won't.
Oh, yeah, I'm over that.
Okay.
I just don't have that fairness bug. As long as I'm doing okay and, like, writing and contributing to the community gets me better jobs, good enough. I just need enough, and it doesn't hurt my feelings for someone else to profit. That's their problem.
Okay. We'll work on this.
No, it's the idea that the world is fair or
Oh, I I
or
I
ever should be is, it causes a lot of suffering. Should we try to make the the our little piece of the world more fair to the people in it? Yes. Should we expect the world to be fair? Pff, I don't wanna be miserable.
okay, so let me take an analogy. I would like more of the money in the music industry to go to artists,
I would also like that, and this is why my kids won't use AI because none of the money goes to the artists.
and I'd like less of it go to labels. And so and it's an incentives
Right,
problem.
right. And so I will go buy the T-shirt.
Okay, yeah, yes, that's a thing you can do.
Mhm.
Um, but I would like more musicians to have more incentive to get their stuff out there.
Oh, I would like more musicians to have more resources to get their stuff out there. Now, I'd rather just we gave people more resources, period, all the time, and then they could get their stuff out there and make more music and art and craft more code like a custom cabinet. Um, uh, I I I don't need people to have an incentive to do what they're inspired to do, and I don't need a monetary incentive to write stuff that helps people have more success in software. I just need the resources, like enough money to send my kids to college so that I can do that and I don't have to spend all my time on a second job or something. I just need the resources to be able to do it and let the inspiration, let the motivation be intrinsic.
Yeah, I suppose that's where I land. And then the question is,
Now, does that mean that I don't if you asked me to vote, if I had some influence on whether the money went to the artists or the record companies, I would vote for the money to go to the artists, I uh, but I'm not going to not participate in the system just because it's not fair enough.
yeah, all right,
That's my philosophy. It's for me.
okay. Last question, Jess. What about this whole situation scares you enough to wake you up at night?
I have 2 kids to put through college, and I can't look around and say, "I'm gonna have a job available to me in any city that makes the kind of money I wanna make." It's the jobs are different now, the market is different. I do think that demand for software will increase compared to what it is today, like, drastically. We will make so much more software because it's cheaper, but that's gonna take a while.
Okay.
And right now, for the software that people do demand and pay for, that can be done by 10 times fewer people in the right situations. But that's okay. Uh, Somebody's got to design the IKEA furniture.
Yes.
Somebody's gotta write those instructions and decide what how the shelf should fit together and make sure it does. And, um, and so I'm gonna get even better at that part of the job. Um, and when a robot, takes away factory work, some people gotta install the robot and know how the robot works. So, personally, I'm not interested in model development, but I am very interested in the harness and the context and how we observe what they're doing and improve that. So, there's plenty of work. Um, but yeah, the market's not what it was, and that does keep me up.
Mm. Thank you so much for being a guest on Still Burning. And yeah, we'll go from here.
Thank you for continuing to care.
I do. It's a little too much sometimes.
Yeah. I'll take it over not caring.
Fact.
Like, not wanting anything is one of the worst things.
Yeah.